Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined as always by the man who loves 5 flakes in his ice cream. It's Greg. How are you today, buddy?
I'm doing very well. I'm quite fond of a pokey hat now and again.
You like a wee flake in your ice cream?
I do, yeah. Do you know something like a cone? I don't know, like sort of modern generations relationship with the cone, but because it's not something that you would just routinely have. Do you know what I mean? Like you're unlikely to have like a sort of soft scoop ice cream dispenser in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Because a soft scoop ice cream has got it's like 3,000 calories a pint, right? So it's not something that you're going to have routinely. So to have like a wee cone now and again, like if you're at the seaside or something, I always really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I like it when the ice cream's gone way down into the very, very tip of the cone. So like you've got delicious ice cream all the way until you're finished. I always felt a wee bit sort of rinsed if I finished the ice cream and I was just left with like an empty cone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a highlight of going to the beach, especially when you were in Aberdeen. You'd get a Mr. Whippy, and it was lovely. Yeah, delicious. Yeah. But yeah, it's not the type of thing you would have every day or normally.
No, and of course there's a sort of element of danger as well when you have a cone at Aberdeen Beach in the summer, because you're probably going to get pursued by a cloud of wasps. So you got to like try and get indoors to eat it, or just
you got to navigate the wasps and the seagulls as well.
Yeah,
because they're obviously after you're trying to nick your cone. But very good.
XL gullies.
XL gullies. How's everything else? All good?
All good. Yep, all good. I know we've got a Noel Gallagher story coming up, but we're just having a little blather about how we feel about Oasis. And I saw an interview with Liam, because obviously the big news of the last sort of couple of weeks is Oasis are reforming and their tickets have gone on sale, and there's this dynamic pricing, which, if I've understood it correctly, the fewer tickets that become available, the higher the prices. Seems quite cynical. But I saw Liam Gallagher being interviewed. I think it's an older interview, but he was talking about how the very first festival he ever went to was in Glasgow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
Maybe on Glasgow Green or something. He was just saying how he sort of insinuated how he was just completely off his box the whole time, just like wandering through the dance tent in a cloud of smoke, like cigarette smoke and smoke machine generated smoke, and what a lovely time he had. Yeah,
I'm sure it sounded like he had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
At that festival, very fond memories of it. So that's very good, and it's nice that he's repaying his experience by playing in Edinburgh rather than Glasgow.
I know, where he was discovered, arguably. Well, not even arguably. Like, his career would not have turned out the way it turned out if he hadn't have been discovered in Glasgow. I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't have been famous, but it wouldn't have followed the same path, right? Might have taken a bit longer.
So he has such a kinship for Glasgow, but why are they playing
in Edinburgh?
Murrayfield, I guess.
Instead of Hampden.
Maybe bigger capacity instead of Hampden. I would have thought Hampden would have been a better venue to play than Murrayfield, but never mind. I don't know. I've never been to a gig at Murrayfield, actually. In fact, I don't think I've ever been to Murrayfield. I've passed the stadium many times, but I've never been to it.
I've never been to a gig in Murrayfield either, and I've never been to a game either. I don't know, like, I'm not, I don't want to cast aspersions on a certain type of person, but I sort of see the crowd at Murrayfield when Scotland play, and I always think, thank God I'm not there. These just aren't my people. I mean, good luck to them, but I just don't belong there.
Have you ever been to a gig at Hampden?
I've not been to a gig. I mean, I've been to a few games at Hampden, but never. Have I been to a gig in Hampden? No, I've never been to a gig in Hampden. No. Have you?
Yeah, I'd stayed at your flat. My girlfriend at the time went to see U2 at Hampden.
Oh, that's right. So you did, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. That's the only gig I've been to at Hampden. I've been to a few games. Been to a couple of Scotland games and maybe about 5 Aberdeen games. At Hampden, but yeah, only one gig. But yeah, U2. That was great.
Yeah.
That was the famous, it's quite a famous clip, I think, or it's kind of a well-known thing, but I was actually there for that when, like, towards 3/4 of the way through the set, Bono goes quiet and he starts clicking his fingers.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I click my fingers, a child in Africa dies. And this Ouija near the front just shouts at the top of his voice, "Stop clicking your fucking fingers then!"
Yeah.
So it's not an urban myth. I was genuinely there for that. So I heard just this ripple of laughter around Hampton. Bono looking pissed off. And start singing Beautiful Day or something.
I mean,
but yeah. So.
You got to think that Bono should have fucking known better. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they've played in Glasgow a lot. Like, my cousin Derek is well, I don't know about now, but certainly when we were teenagers, just massive U2 fan. And I remember particularly during the Zooropa tour when they were touring, like Achtung Baby, I think was the album they were sort of they were sort of touring. Maybe
was that not Zoo TV?
Oh yeah, was that actually an album?
Yeah, that's a great album. Discotheque's the first track on that album. That's a fucking great YouTube song.
Right, I'm not like a big U2 fan, evidently. I'm not a big fan, but yeah, he was fucking U2 daft, and I know they did a few nights at Parkhead in maybe like the early 90s, and my cousin managed to go twice. I think potentially on consecutive nights. He went to the show. So yeah,
I think that was the tour they came out of the Big Lemon.
Don't know.
Yeah, there was like a big lemon they came out of, I think.
Do you know something I think about? Whenever I think about U2, right? When I was about like 10 or 11, like my dad moved into a house in Barrhead with my stepmom, and the people that had lived there before, evidently somebody in the house was a huge U2 fan, because the spare bedroom, it wasn't like a poster, it was a sort of like a poster that you paint on the wall, and it was almost like the full wall. And it was the album cover of the Joshua Tree. And because it was a spare bedroom, whenever I was there, like my dad hadn't got round to painting over it. And whenever I was staying there, like the way I was always obviously in the spare bedroom. So like the bed, the sort of head of the bed just faced. So I'd always just sort of like be like lying in, I'd wake up in the morning and just sort of lie in bed staring at this fucking massive painting of the Joshua Tree. And then we went up into the loft, and they had left a pool table behind. Like, we could not believe our luck. They had left a pool table behind. I guess they had built it in the loft, and they just couldn't be arsed to take it apart again and get it back down. And there was more like U2 posters, all just sort of painted on the, what do you call it, like the eaves? Is it the eaves where it comes down like that on an angle? Yeah, huge U2 fans, whoever lived there before. But my dad just fucking painted over them. My dad didn't like U2. He also took a bit. He also took a bit of a sectarian sort of attitude towards them as well, which was unfortunate. I think we'll leave it there.
Right. Shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks, Craig?
Yeah, let's do it. Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
It's okay. We don't get many downloads in Ireland. Okay, Greg, what have you seen in the news over the last couple of weeks that has caught your eye?
Well, this one, I think, has to be one of the best Swally stories that I've seen for a long time. It's the one that I've discovered myself, anyway. We had, we've had stories on the podcast before that have demonstrated that no matter what they're in prison for... Scottish lags often have a good sense of humour, like the whole Nicholas Rossi thing. And then I read one as well about a guy some like hippie guy in Inverness who apparently was a rapist, and he tried to fake his own death in America, and he got what do you call it? Extradited, thank you, back to Scotland. And because he was a sort of hippie guy, and the guys on his floor are all like doing like wolf calls all night because he was just like a bit of a swampy, you know. But this one's absolutely brilliant. So this is from the Scottish Sun on the 4th of September, and the headline is Jail Heist. Crafty cons nick prison TV to play Xbox and replace it with cardboard. One. So crafty cons have nicked a widescreen TV from a prison exercise area and replaced it with a bit of cardboard. The stunt allowed inmates at Low Moss prison, just near Bishopbriggs, to play Xbox games on the 42-inch screen for a fortnight before the guards rumbled the ruse. A second missing telly was also later discovered at the Nick in Bishopbriggs near Glasgow. A source told the Scottish Sun, the 42-inch TV is usually well-mounted and is in the cardio exercise zone, but some cons managed to remove the brackets, grab the telly, and slotted a piece of cardboard that had been painted black in its place. They then transferred the big TV to a cell where they were able to spend a couple of weeks playing the Xbox. In the end, they were rumbled when guards noticed about 5 prisoners all huddled round the same screen. I don't think anybody thought they would get away with it for so long. After the TV was found, staff did extra checks and realised another, bigger TV had also been taken from a different communal area. This vanishing trick was eventually busted by guards on August the 15th. Most prisoners have smaller TVs in their cells, but a widescreen is about double the size of the normal TVs they have. A Scottish prison service spokesman confirmed 2 TVs were reported missing at His Majesty's Prison Low Moss and subsequently traced and recovered by staff. That's it, that's a story. But yeah, honestly, it really fucking made me chuckle.
How did it take them so long to discover that one of them had them in a cell? Like, it must have taken up the whole wall.
Don't know.
Like, I'm instantly thinking of the Seinfeld episode where there's a Kenny Rogers chicken shop opens across this apartment, and like the neon light just shines in his building. Yeah. Like, it shines through his peephole even. Like, and there must have just been a massive light coming from this one cell of prisoners playing fucking, I don't know, BioShock or whatever Xbox game they're playing.
I'd love to know. Probably Grand Theft Auto or something like that. Just like the sort of ingenuity really made me laugh.
How did they take that off the wall and smuggle it back to their cells without being spotted? It's not like you can conceal it like a fucking shiv or something. Like, it's a fucking massive TV. How the hell did they manage to get away with that?
It's got an image of like a big fat prisoner with it stuck up his jumper, you know? Like, sort of kind of landscape, you know, to make his shoulders look dead broad. Yeah, it just made me laugh. It really did.
To replace it with a bit of cardboard. It's like we need to put something in its place because they'll notice something's missing if we don't. Just get a fucking bit of a cardboard box.
Paint it black and stick it in the bracket. Oh, God.
They'll just think it's a HelloFresh channel or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I presume they don't get HelloFresh deliveries in prison, although you never know. They've got Xboxes and stuff, so maybe. Yeah, that's incredible. What a fucking great story.
Oh, it's so funny. It's just, it made me think, you know, like in the Shawshank Redemption, it's like years of Tim Thingmay with these little geology hammers, little rock hammer, just like carefully knocking out the wall behind the poster and dropping it in the yard and stuff. These guys are like, fuck that, just pop a bit of cardboard in there, get that telly up to his cell.
Fulton Mackay will never notice. It's fine.
It'll be a laugh. Oh, fucking hell, honestly, it really made me laugh. Anyway, that's my first story this week. What's your first story in this week's episode?
Well, you've alluded to who my story is about earlier, Greg. You kind of spoiled it. For listeners, we don't know each other's news stories ahead of time, but we give each other kind of a little hint just to make sure we don't cover the same news stories. So my story is indeed about Noel Gallagher, Greg, which that was very fitting in terms of Oasis comeback. So this is from the Scottish Sun this week. Tennent's Lager is supplying a dedicated tap for Noel Gallagher at Oasis's Scottish gigs after he hailed the brew the best in the world.
Wow.
Noel proclaimed his love for the Scots lager when he spent the weekend celebrating Burns Night in Banffshire in 2015 and was rewarded with a terrific offer from the makers. Hazel Alexander, senior brand manager at Tennent's, said, "When the man who called Tennent's the best beer in the world returns to the stage in Scotland, it's only right he has the finest pint waiting. So in tribute to his legendary status, of course, we'll ensure he's looked after with a dedicated backstage tap for his gigs at Murrayfield. Here's to making every rock and roll star moment in Edinburgh even more iconic." Oh, Hazel. The indie rocker lived up to his then boozy reputation when he celebrated Burns Night and the 40th birthday of former supermodel Rose Ferguson. He was pictured alongside supermodel Kate Moss, Radio 1's Nick Grimshaw, and actress Sadie Frost. I bet that'd be a fucking great night.
Yeah.
And other rock and rollers as he posed outside the Craigenlachie Hotel holding a half-drunk pint of Tennent's aloft. He declared to all and sundry, "I just stuck to the Tennent's Lager. It's the best beer in the world. I'd like a lifetime supply. That was a terrible Manc accent, I'm sorry. While other guests at the Big Bash sampled whiskey, the high-flying bird star seemed to like the Scottish lager so much, he even organised his own carry-out, taking home a pint when his chauffeured car picked him up at the end of the night. Comparing himself to Rolling Stones legend Mick Jagger, who was still livening up the stage at 81, Noel, 57, recently told Matt Morgan on his podcast, just because Jagger is mincing about at 103 doesn't mean everyone can. The Manchester musician continued, well, I mean, they've got to be pushing, 70 now? I mean, the way I feel fucking now, I'll be fucking lucky if I make it to 60. He has numerically mentioned his weight gain and pointed his finger at his drinking habits. He said, I could do with getting off the booze, let's put it that way. But earlier this year, the Star said he swapped booze for peppermint tea on New Year's Day. But the health-conscious Live Forever songwriter will not be Noel Gallagher permanently. Noel, who co-wrote hits including Cigarettes and Alcohol, Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger, said, I've been drinking every day for 4 years, half a bottle of red wine at night. And then it just goes on about Noel Gallagher's career, basically. He did say last year that dry January is for middle-aged women. He said that stopping drinking fucked up his sleep. And he said, and speaking on another Matt Morgan podcast, he said, I'm all or nothing, and I can do it. I quit drugs like that. I just got up one day and said, after tonight, that's it. Sobriety, I'm all for it. I know it's not going to last forever. So yeah, I'm liking it. I'm embracing it. I'm not going to be the new way of life, as I do like a drink. But now that I've got back into the way that I was before lockdown, I think I'll stop drinking at home. So Noel Gallagher is going to have a dedicated Tennent's tap because he has claimed that Tennent's is the best lager in the world. And I think we are probably in agreement on that, are we, Greg?
Well, not only are we in agreement, but we have also said in this podcast that we think Tennent's is, maybe not in so many words, but we've definitely indicated that our opinion is it's the best lager in the world. I mean, when we were in Scotland in July, there wasn't free Tennent's everywhere that we went.
No, there wasn't. No, definitely wasn't. I see they're doing a deal this month for the next 2 weeks. It's £2 for a pint of Tennent's in every Belhaven pub.
I saw that, yeah.
And I'm like, fucking hell, I'd get cirrhosis of the liver if I was back.
I wonder why they're doing that.
I don't know, but fair play. I don't know how they're getting around it with like minimum. I guess the minimum pricing of alcohol is only
retail.
For supermarkets and stuff. Yeah, retail. But I don't know why they're doing that, but maybe it's to get people back drinking Tennent's. But I don't even think it's a novelty in terms of when I'm home, I will drink Tennent's because I can, because I can't get it here. But I genuinely just love it. It's just such a lovely lager. It's just so nice. And like I remember going through a period, as you know, when I was younger, in my early 20s, I always drank Stella.
Yeah, we all did.
Famously. Yeah.
It was
and
then
fashion. For some reason, one night, I think I was in a pub and they didn't sell Stella. So I drank Tennent's. I had about 6 pints of it. And I woke up the next morning and had zero hangover. And I was like, wait a minute. There's got to be some sort of correlation there. Yeah. So after that, I switched to Tennent's. And yeah, I'd love a pint of Tennent's right now.
Yeah.
So good.
I was annoyed with myself because when we were all together in 2022 for Steve Coogan, the only pint of Tennent's I had was when you and I were in Aberdeen Airport in the morning on our way home. You know what I mean? Okay. I was like, why have I not just had more pints of Tennent's when I've been in Aberdeen this week? So like I did say to myself when I was sort of anticipating our trip in July, I'm definitely going to have a few pints of Tennent, and I definitely did, especially in the last day. Fucking a right scoop. I find Tennent's out of a can these days to be a little bit just not as nice. It's not as nice as it used to be, but for me, well, I just don't like it as much. But I do still very much love a pint out of off a tap.
Do you find the cans aren't as nice because you can't look at the lager lovelies anymore?
Maybe that's why. I mean, I remember the first time I bought a carry out of Tennent's, and I was 18, and I wasn't long 18, and I bought it from our local shop in a little village, and obviously I've got served there before, because everybody fucking knew me and knew how old I was, and it was still the sort of classic light bluish can with the big frothy pint on it, you know?
I think, I know it well.
I don't think there was a Lager Lovely on them, but pretty soon after that, they changed over to the now, I guess it's become classic in its own right, the yellow and red design.
Because I do remember the Lager Lovelies, purely because...
to find them in the fucking swing park and everywhere you went. Yeah.
Well, when I was younger, I used to spend a lot of summers at my grandmother's house. And because my mum was a single parent, so she'd be off working, so I'd go around to my grandmother's. And two of my uncles lived with my grandmother. They were both, one was never married, but the other one was divorced. And I won't be like this, they were both alcoholics. And it's probably where I picked it up from. And they would, pretty much every day, one of them, Bob, would go to the shop and he would get 6 cans of McEwan's Export for him and 6 cans of Tennent's for my other uncle, George. And they would just sit and drink those 6 cans, throughout the day and watch the horse racing and just enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
Both unemployed, both claiming the brew. It was fine. And I remember that was my first exposure to the Lager Lovelies because my Uncle George used to drink Tennent's every day and would always see the Lager Lovelies. And then, I remember that blue can as well, very specifically when it changed. Iconic can, that. But I genuinely do think Tennent's is the best lager in the world. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a can if I can pour it into a glass and get some air about it.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, in fact, the kind of big beer shop not too far from me does occasionally have Tennent, and all this Tennent's talk is making me want to go and buy some. But I've always got a bit of respect for Noel Gallagher because he's about 10 or 11 years older than I am. And, I'm at an age now where, I do think quite carefully about how much I'm going to drink. And, I don't like to rip the arse out it. Although last weekend I did drink a bottle and a half of white wine and I felt absolutely atrocious the next day. One of the worst hangovers I've had in years. But generally speaking, I'm pretty try and look after the old physical and mental health by not getting pissed every fucking weekend. But the fact that he just very much, for guys our age, it's all, it's becoming a little bit more of a taboo to be a fucking someone who likes to cane it, whereas he's just I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Take my hat off to him.
And I love how he roasts all these guys like Jagger and stuff, because he's always been very, very candid about who his sort of musical heroes are, and it's guys like Paul McCartney and Townsend and Paul Weller and Mick Jagger and blah blah blah, but then he'll still just roast them. I saw there was some photographs on Instagram. Do you remember the War Child album, charity album that they did for War Child? And he did it. So there was photographs of that recording session, and he did a version of Come Together with the Smoking Mojo Filters, who were like Johnny Depp, Paul Weller, him, maybe someone else. So Paul McCartney, but he was there too. So there's pictures of him with Paul McCartney and he's just not smiling. You know what I mean? McCartney, quite relaxed, likes being with all these young people, making music and all that. I can't do a Paul McCartney, but those just fucking. There's one picture of him smiling, and I was like, I can see why he don't fucking smile, because he looks like he's having a stroke. So he does.
I would say I do like Noel. I used to listen to the. It was a podcast. I mean, it was a radio show. Was it Radio 2? On a Saturday night. It was the Russell Brand show.
Russell Brand and Matt Morgan, and Noel was on there quite a lot, wasn't he?
And Noel, he used to phone in every week, and I used to download that podcast every Sunday and listen to it and just be in hysterics at Noel, because he's a funny fucker.
He is funny. He's really funny.
He's really dry.
Yeah.
And I do like him. I'm not a massive fan of Liam, to be honest, but I do like Noel. I've got a lot of respect for him.
I've kind of warmed to Liam more as he's got a bit older. You know what I mean? He's sort of, he's a bit more likeable. Like, I saw some clips of him on Jonathan Ross on his chat show, and he's quite he's sort of developed a bit of a self-depreciating humour and stuff like that, and I guess it just sort of comes with age. It was the funniest story that I saw Liam ever tell was when he realised that Jamie Oliver lived next door, and they were all walking back from the pub one night, throwing rocks at his window, demanding that he made them bacon rolls. Because I'm not a fan of Jamie Oliver.
I do find it amusing, though, that Gary Glitter gets more money off of the sale of every copy of What's the Story Morning Glory than Liam does. Which is...
Well, because of the little "it's good to be back" bit at the end of... Yeah. That's little fun fact there for you. Never mind. So there we go. Tennant's Lager is officially the best beer in the world according to Noel Gallagher. And no, I'd say we agree. Tennant's, if you're looking to sponsor us, then you can get in touch, cultureswally@gmail.com. What else have you seen this week, Greg? I will just take free lager as well, to be honest. You don't have to pay us. Just take free lager. Yeah, exactly. So another sort of Swally-centric, we like a wee chat about our favourite food and drink. From Scotland, say last week, or rather the last episode, we had the big news that Moray Cup has been relaunched in Aberdeen, in the northeast of Scotland. So this story comes from the Daily Record again on the 28th of August. And the headline reads, Scotland's most dunkable biscuit crowned in care home taste challenge. As part of a competitive challenge taking place at care homes all over Scotland, the country's most dunkable biscuit to eat with a cup of tea has been crowned. So following I can't believe this. So following the excitement of the 2024 Olympics, and as the Paralympics are about to commence, I mean... More than 100 residents at Renaissance care homes all over Scotland have been taking part in the Dunkability Challenge. I mean, if they had a Dunkability Challenge on the Olympics, I might be more inclined to watch it, to be quite honest. Launched by supermarket giants Aldi, Scots have been investigating which biscuits can withstand the most dunks in a cup of tea before breaking. What would you... If you had to just sort of kind of shooting from the hip, what do you think? Which biscuit do you think won the Dunkability Challenge?
I'm going to go with a ginger nut.
I would have, before I read this, I would have agreed with you, right? But according to the results of the challenge, the Belmont caramel wafer biscuit, which will be Aldi's version of the Tunnocks caramel wafer, I imagine, it has emerged as the undisputed Dunkability champion. Behind in second place was Aldi's digestive biscuits, and then coming in last was Aldi's specially selected all butter shortbread fingers. Maybe not selected specially enough. More than 100 residents across the country were asked to determine which of the three classic biscuits could withstand the most tea dunks before breaking. The light-hearted competition turned an ordinary tea break into an accessible sporting event. Fuck off. An accessible sporting event. Sparking friendly rivalry amongst residents as they came together to see whose biscuit could outlast the rest. Bunty Smith.
Bunty.
I knew it was coming. Bunty.
Cunty, bunty. How does your big minge grow?
Bunty Smith, aged 92.
Sorry, Bunty.
Imagine it's out of control. Resident at Jesmond Care Home. Commented, I always have a biscuit with my cup of tea, but I never imagined I'd be competing in a Dunkability Challenge. We had such a laugh taking part, and I couldn't believe it when the caramel wafer was still holding up after 2 minutes. It's definitely my new favourite. Wellbeing lead at Renaissance Care, Jade McGowan, added, the Dunkability Challenge was a big hit with our residents. The simple act of dunking biscuits with a competitive twist brought some light-hearted fun into our daily routine. It's events like these that remind us of the importance of community and meaningful connections within our homes and the simple joys of life. A big thank you to Aldi Scotland for all of their support, while the specially selected all-butter shortbread fingers and the Belmont digestive biscuits put up a good fight. The Belmont caramel wafers really took the biscuit. There you go. So do you like to dunk a biscuit in a cup of tea? I know you like a cup of tea, don't you?
I do like a cup of tea. Yes, I would say I do quite like, but it would have to be like a hobnob or a ginger nut.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of like dunking like chocolate biscuits into my tea though.
No.
So I prefer more of a savoury biscuit.
Yeah.
Well, they're still sweet, but you know what I mean. Something not chocolate. So I would never dunk like a caramel wafer.
Yeah, like an aromatic.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be like a digestive. Not really a big fan of a rich tea, but like I'd say a hobnob or a ginger nut. Yeah, I'll happily dunk that in my tea. What about yourself?
Rich teas are just a fucking waste of time. I don't know why anybody buys them.
Yeah.
I see now. I'm not a dunker because I don't like crumbs in my tea or coffee.
Okay.
And it goes back, and I remember really well, as a little boy, I used to always get given apple juice with my breakfast. And I remember one day eating my breakfast, big bowl of cereal, sugar puffs or something, or shreddies or something, and drinking away at my apple juice, and then looking into my apple juice and realising that some crumbs out of my mouth, because I was a wee boy, had somehow made their way into my apple juice, and it just, ever since then, it's just fucking put me right off. So I'm not a dunker. Either I am.
The trauma. You're not a dunker.
No, due to childhood trauma. You know?
You won't be dunking with Bunty anytime soon, then.
No. Well, I mean, no, I won't.
This is lovely, though. I mean, obviously, this is just a massive campaign orchestrated by Aldi. However, it's lovely that they're giving people in community homes or care home retirement centres something to do and taking part in a challenge. And Bunty obviously had the time of her life. So it's brilliant. I'm really glad to hear this story. Really nice.
Yeah, it's a nice story. I mean, my relationship with care homes, again, coming back to childhood trauma, like my great granny was in a care home outside Stirling, and she was like in her 90s when I was a wee boy. We had to go and see her, and I was always, because like a sad part of getting old is like some people go a bit doolally, unfortunately, right? And they always used to make me a bit uncomfortable, the doolally patients. And then as recently as maybe, when did my granny die? Maybe about 13 years ago, my granny was in a care home in Cumbernauld, and me and my wife and my daughters went to see her. And then this old lady wiped her nose on my face. So she did. She was struggling with dementia, and she was kind of zipping around. And my granny was like, "Oh, here she fucking comes again." And I was like, "Who?" and because I guess I was this kind of youngest man in there at the time, she kept, she was kept trying to hold my hand, and then I got up to sort Renee out, my youngest daughter. She was the baby at the time, and she's like she was kind of kissing me, and then she just like her nose, just like her snotty nose wiped in my face. It was horrific. So it was. Oh, God, I kind of balked. I had to go and like wash my face with like hand soap because that was all that was available.
Oh,
trauma. Anyway,
I'm just trying to make a connection, Greg. That's all.
Snottery connection with my coupon. No, it is a nice thing that Aldi have done, and I don't think they're just trying to sell biscuits. I think they're trying to give something back to the community. So well done, Aldi.
No, they're trying to sell biscuits. Of course they are. Aldi, if you'd like to sponsor us, cultureswally@gmail.com. We will accept knockoff tenants as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I bought some IPA from Aldi when I was there, maybe this year, and it was quite nice. It was pretty good. Like Aldi's own IPA. Was it Aldi or Lidl? Yeah. It might be Lidl. I get them mixed up.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
essentially the same thing. Anyway, that was my second story. So what's your next story this week?
I'm having a bit of a celebrity special this week, Greg, because obviously my first story was about Noel Gallagher, and my second story is about the wonderful first couple of Scotland. So this is from the Scottish Sun this week, and the headline is Cranky Panky. Showbiz duo The Krankies revealed how they once stayed at Engelbert Humperdinck Suite in a guest house that doubled as a brothel.
We've all done it.
The husband and wife duo were working in Leeds during the early 70s when they discovered that their landlady had a saucy secret. In their updated biography, A Funny Way of Life, Jeanette, 77, fucking hell, she's 77, wrote, I'm not doing a Jeanette Cranky impression. The digs were run by a very posh lady, and Engelbert Humperdinck used to stay at the same place before he made it big. She adored Engelbert, and even named her Doug after him. What the fucking... That's got to be annoying at the point. Engelbert! 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 The way she ran her guest house was the lower down the bill you were, the lower the bedroom was in the guest house. So when we started out, we were literally sleeping in the basement. By the time we topped the bill at the local Berkeley club, we were honoured, as she told us, to be given Engelbert's room. Ian, also 77. I never realised they were the same age.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy always seemed so much younger. So you could have knocked us down with a feather when we find out that this posh guest house doubled as a brothel. This woman would never let you answer the phone or go out into the back garden where she had a huge shed. But there was a Welsh comic called Dave Swan staying there too. And one night we came back from a gig and he was like, let's go and have a look in that shed. So we sneaked down and we found a key and opened it up. Sure enough, it was a fetish room with chains and belts and a harness hanging from the roof.
Jesus.
Jeanette said, after that discovery, everything started to make sense. For example, it was the only guest house I've ever been in the world where they changed your sheets every day. It suddenly dawned on us that our beds were obviously in use during the day when we were out at work. So,
Jesus Christ.
I mean, we know the Krankies are
Adventurous.
quite openly
adventurous.
They like to have a swing now and again, apparently, but they're shocked that they were staying in a brothel in the 70s with a suite named after Engelbert Humperdinck. That's a great name for a suite in a brothel. We'll take you to the Humperdinck.
Yeah, I'll take you up the Humperdinck with my Engelbert. Yeah, I mean, I did, obviously, I wrote that wee piece about the Krankies for the website. I had to try and read that. I'm sort of like interested to read their book, but also maybe I'd skip a couple of chapters. Do you know what I mean? Because when we did the Krankies Christmas special a few years ago, we spoke about this. I mean, when I was a kid, the Krankies were fucking massive. They were on like they weren't just on Scottish television. They were on like Cracker Jack, which was like BBC,
they were huge,
like a BBC One kind of prime time kids show on a Friday, like the last one that was on a Friday before the news came on. I mean, they were fucking huge. But and they're like, I guess because they've always been a married couple, they've never really aroused any suspicions unlike some of their peers. Yeah. But yeah, no, I always like to hear about the Krankies. In their film today, there's quite a little funny line where the Krankies are referenced by
it's my best use of swearing award ruined. Look, the Krankies, it is funny to hear about, because I'm the same as you. They were a massive part of my childhood, and they were so beloved. And we spoke about them on our episode when we did the Krankies Christmas Club, which was a couple of years ago. Yeah, available wherever you get your podcasts. But it is so funny when you read about. I'm the same. I kind of want to read their book, but I'm not sure if I want to, because I don't really want to hear about them getting up to stuff like that. And fair play. As you say, it's all consensual. No one's hurt. Everyone's fine. It's all adults just enjoying themselves.
I mean, the sort of apocryphal tale in my family growing up, because Jeanette went to Kilsyth Academy, which is where my dad and grew up, and the same school he went to. My auntie's a year older than my dad, and whenever the Krankies would be on the TV, if my dad wandered in or my granda wandered in, one of them would always say, "Oh, she went to school with your Auntie Jean." But then I found out, and I did my research, that it's not true. It's true in as much as she went to the same school. But Jeanette's, she's like, let me think, 72. So Jeanette would have left school by the time Jean started, I think. So, but anyway, my dad and my granda are both away, so it's fine. It was something I could brag about when I was a wee boy, even though nobody ever fucking believed me. And it turns out they were right not to believe me, because it was a massive lie. Well, not a massive lie.
Well, maybe it's for the best, or they might have got caught up in the sex games.
I know. I mean,
that's put another thought in your head now.
Yeah, it's put the photographs that you shared on the group last night in my head. So it has. Yeah, maybe we should move on from the Krankies.
Yeah, okay. Have you seen anything else this week, Greg?
A very quick celebrity spot as well. Hollywood star Shia LaBeouf has been hanging about Edinburgh. It's thought that he's there because his wife is filming Del Toro's production of Frankenstein that's been shot in and around Edinburgh and Scotland at the moment. Apparently he's been having a lovely time just doing a bit of bar hopping around Edinburgh on his own, it seems. It does seem like he's been his own, and he's been having drinks for people and having a laugh and posing for pictures, and it's all been very nice up until couple of nights ago where somebody had to fucking ruin it and wind them up. So unfortunately, she has been filmed in Edinburgh city centre just squaring up some guys that I don't know what they said to wind them up. Transformers is pish, maybe. No idea. I thought Holes was rubbish. But anyway, passers-by stepped in to try and separate him from a guy who was also pulled away by his friend. But a bar worker at Stramash in Edinburgh, where the incident took place, has backed the A-lister, saying jealous students antagonised them. They said the guy who was involved in it has been in touch. I told him to contact the police. One of the guys who got involved with him outside, he messaged on Facebook asking if he could get the CCTV. We said we could only share it with the police. I watched the CCTV and I don't think he was having a great time. He was dancing about. To be honest, the other 4 guys were antagonising him. They knew who he was and they were poking at him. The other guys were definitely antagonising them, trying to goad him into some sort of reaction. The booth is in the city while his actress wife, Mia Goth, shoots a new Frankenstein film. He was captured in the 37-second clip raging against the group outside the OX184 bar earlier this week. The source added, he was dancing about, having a good time. I think the other guys were trying to spin each other around and dance with girls, and I think they got a little bit jealous, wanting to get involved. A customer complained that the 4 students were antagonising them. They all got asked to leave. It was just words. He was having a great time. He was by himself, dancing about. It was a Monday. Earlier was a Tuesday morning. I mean, fucking fair play, Shia. A couple of musicians said he was really nice. He was chatting away to them. Yeah, he does utter the amazing... Only in America would somebody say, "I'm right here, motherfuckers." But fortunately, it came to nothing.
Yeah, I was amazed by this article because it was so funny. Literally 2 nights before, I watched an actors' round table with Shia LaBeouf on it. And he was there with, I think, Adam Sandler, Adam Driver, Robert De Niro, Tom Hanks, someone else, can't remember. And he came across so well. And like he admits, he's had issues and he's had troubles and he was in a mental institute for a while. But he's kind of sorted himself out. And I think he had a very troubled childhood as well and stuff. And, he was a child star. So he's done some things I don't agree with, but I was happy watching that, thinking, all right, good on you, Shia. You kind of sorted yourself out. You seem like an okay guy. And then I read this 2 days later, and I read the article and then I read the follow-up article about it was these 4 students that were just basically antagonising him. And I'm like, fair play. Like, it sounds like he's been having a good night.
Yeah.
Everyone's enjoying him. He's buying drinks. He's dancing. He's having fun. These 4 arseholes taking the piss and he's just snapped and been like, right, fuck you. Like, come on, let's go.
I'm right here.
And I'll be honest, I would not want to fuck with Shia LaBeouf because he's unhinged and he looks like a hard bastard as well. Like, I would not want to fuck with that man.
No,
so
you don't think you could take him?
I would not. No, fuck no. Jesus. He's got a screw loose. Like, no way. No chance.
I really liked him in. I doubt you'd have watched it. So it's not really up your street, but he's in a good film with Brad Pitt called Fury. It's him, Brad Pitt, John Berthenol, and they're like a tank crew making their way through France in the Second World War. It's a good film. David O. Russell, I think, is the director.
I watched a clip of it was John Bernthal being interviewed actually, and he said about that film in terms of he's like Shia turned up and like he hadn't washed for like about 8 months or something, like, and he was proper method acting, like he'd cut his face because he felt this guy should have a scar. He pulled out one of his own teeth, he kind of like really went for it. And John was like, this kid's fucking crazy. And he's like, but by the end of filming, like, Jesus Christ, that motherfucker is like he's committed. He is, he's 100% and he's a really good guy. He's like, I know he's had issues and stuff, but he's a fucking good guy. He's like, and as soon as filming finished, bang. He's
shower.
Back to normal.
In the shower.
Yeah. Got a shower, go to the dentist. It's all sorted. Right, what am I doing next? Transformers 2. Okay, cool. Yeah, fair play. I don't agree. I would never give hassle to
I'd be buying
an actor if I saw them out.
If you and I were in Edinburgh and we bumped into him, we'd be with him for the whole night, buying rounds, talking about our favourite films, having a laugh, try to get him to record stuff for the podcast in the toilets. Just say welcome to this Culture Swally into this. Why would you antagonise the guy?
Look, Shia, I'm sorry, man, but Cosmo is our patron saint. But you could maybe be our international saint, kind of thing, aye? Yeah. Could you be our international, aye? Come on. Just a wee little, hi, I'm Shia LaBeouf, and whenever I'm in Scotland, I listen to Culture Swally.
Yeah.
And I love Tenants.
Yeah, I love Tenants. Yeah, I bet he would get fucking hundreds of free tenants if he said that. I just want to see what the last... Because I know that he was at an awards ceremony with a bag in his head where he'd written "Not Famous Anymore" on it. Oh, he's in Francis Ford Coppola's pending film Megalopolis. He's got a part in that. So yeah, I mean he's still kind of working away. And if that was a big film he was in, that Peanut Butter Falcon before the pandemic that he got a lot of good reviews for. So
yeah, like I say, I know he's had a lot of troubles, but I don't actually mind that much.
Good guy.
He's okay. He's just troubled. But I do not agree with 4 fucking students starting on it.
No.
It's not on and not called for.
Yeah.
You never... Why do that? It's just someone trying to enjoy their night. It's just ruin their night. It's so you've got a story to tell. Fucking had a fight with Shia LaBeouf last night.
Yeah, but they didn't have a fight, did they? Because they're students. They had to shout it at him. I'm sure if he'd broken free and gone for one of them, they'd have been up the road as quickly as possible.
I'm right here, motherfuckers.
Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of your wee sabbatical in Edinburgh, Shia, while your missus finished shooting Frankenstein. Any more on the news this week?
No, that's it for me, Greg. So, right, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsors. And our sponsor is Doric Skateboards, a skateboard brand created by Gary Kemp, whose main focus is to explore the people and culture of Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland, creating designs to reflect life in that wonderful area that I hail from. Doric Skateboards screen print their own decks in their new studio by Gary's fair hand, and they have produced some amazing designs over the years, including an Annie Lennox-inspired board, a Robert the Bruce deck, and a Plenty of Pop deck inspired by the old Bonaccord trucks that used to drive around Aberdeen delivering fizzy juice. Doric Skateboards also replicate these amazing designs onto their clothing on 100% organic cotton tees, hoodies, and sweatshirts, and they also produce beanies, caps, mugs, pin badges, and stickers. Gary regularly collaborates with local artists to ensure he brings the latest designs to the market, but always with a Doric twist, including the latest butt redesign based on the famous Aberdeen Breakfast of Champions, and the beautiful Northfield Tower design, a love letter to the Eiffel Tower of Aberdeen. So check Doric Skateboards out for yourself at doricskateboards.com and follow them on Instagram at Doric Skateboards to see the amazing designs on offer. And we are delighted to be able to offer you 15% off as listeners to this podcast. All you need to do is head to doricskateboards.com, have a look at all the amazing decks, stickers, badges, hoodies and tees on offer, and enter the promo code SWALLY. That's SWALLY, same with its name as this podcast, all in block capitals, and get your 15% off. That's doricskateboards.com, link in the description of this episode. Okay, Greg, so it was your choice on this episode. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
So I've gone for what is maybe bizarrely a bit of a deep cut. And I don't really, when we talk about it and we talk about the cast and we talk about how well received this film was, it's a bit of a mystery as to how it's become a bit of a deep cut. But I've gone for 2003's American Cousins. 2 New Jersey mobsters take refuge in Glasgow after a deal goes wrong in Kiev with their cousin Bobby, played by Gerald Lapowski, good Scottish name there, his granda Nono in their cafe in Glasgow, pursued by enemies both Russian and Scouse. Released in 2003, directed by Don Coots, co-starring a Swally favourite Shirley Henderson, Danny Nucci, Russell Hunter, Dan Hedaya, bizarrely Stephen Graham, and perhaps even more bizarrely, big pussy bumping Cero himself, Vincent Pastore, although, I mean, very much a cameo there. So, I'm been looking forward to talking to you about this. I don't think you were sure if you had seen it when I teed it up on the last episode, right?
I hadn't seen it. I should point out as well, Greg, because just in case we upset any listeners, because we do get some downloads in Russia. The gangster's Ukrainian.
Oh, sorry.
And that's definitely not two things you want to mix up.
No,
at
especially
no.
Sorry.
Sorry for our Russian listeners. Yes, and sorry for our Ukrainian listeners as well. We do get some downloads in Ukraine as well. I'd never seen it before.
Okay.
I was aware of it. I was aware it existed, probably mostly because of Big Pussy being in it. But I'd never actually seen it. I really enjoyed it. It's a really quaint little kind of, I don't know what it is, like a gangster movie, but like kind of romantic comedy, but kind of culture clash type movie. But it really works. Like I did enjoy it. I saw it described a couple of times online as like Local Hero meets The Sopranos. And I can kind of see it in a way, but not really. Like, I can see a little bit of kind of Bill Forsyth influence in this film.
Yeah.
Like, slightly.
Oh, no doubt.
But it's, I really enjoyed it. It's just like this quaint little enjoyable hour and 35 minutes or so film. And it just kind of hits all the notes. Like there's laughter, there's fun, there's a part where I was kind of tearing up. It's a nice little film. I really enjoyed it, and kind of not sure why it's not widely available as much, because it took fucking ages to find this film.
No, I know.
I remember when we were in Glasgow, I asked in FOP if they had it on DVD, and they said it was deleted about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can get it. But thankfully, it popped up on an American streaming site, so was able to watch it. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So you had seen this when it first came out, had you?
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, when it came out, I was working at Frankie and Benny's on Paisley Road in Glasgow, and they had because obviously it's quite, despite a couple of American actors in there, it's very, very much a Scottish production. It's filmed on location in Glasgow. Most of the cast are Scottish. So they had the premiere in the Cineworld on Renfield Street in Glasgow. And because Frankie and Benny's, for people who aren't aware of it, sort of like Italian-American influenced restaurant, they asked us if we would put some sort of postcards out on the host stand and stuff, essentially advertising the film, and if we put these postcards on the table talkers and things for a couple of weeks, and we said we would, so they gave us tickets to the premiere. So me and my colleague Colin got to go at the premiere, and Shirley Henderson was there, Don Coots was there, he introduced the film, he brought Shirley up. They were the only two from the cast who were there. I think Russell Hunter, who plays Nono, had passed away by that point. I think he passed away before the film was released. Don't quote me on that, it may not be true, but he wasn't there anyway. So yeah, Don Coots and Shirley Henderson introduced the film, and I really, really enjoyed it, because there's a little bit of trepidation. You never quite know if it's if you're going to enjoy something like that or not. But yeah, really enjoyed it. But I hadn't seen it since, and watching it back, this sort of 22 years later, it was almost like watching it for the first time. Like I didn't remember. When I saw Stephen Graham turn up, I was like, "Fuck me!" I had had no memory of him or Jake Abraham being in it, and just the kind of sequence of events and whatnot. But just to sort of emphasise how mad it is that this film is so difficult to track down. These are the awards that it won in the year of release. So it won the Audience Award from BAFTA Scotland. Sergio Casquet won the Best Screenplay from BAFTA. Shirley Henderson got Best Actress at the Cherbourg Octeville Festival. It won the Jury Award at the Newport Beach Film Festival. It got Best Film at the Milan International Film Festival, Best Director at the Milan International Film Festival, and the Audience Award. And screenwriter Sergio Caschi was also nominated for the BAFTA Carl Foreman Award, which I guess is, I'm not sure what that award is, but I guess it's prestigious. Oh, Carl Foreman was a screenwriter for Bridge Over the River Kwai and other films like that. So it's mental that it's not even on YouTube, you know? There's not even like a scratchy version of it on YouTube.
No, it's crazy that you've just listed all the awards that it's won, and considering the cast as well, and it's not available anywhere to find. Well, it is, obviously, like, because we found it, but eventually. But it's crazy because it's such obviously it was a well-received film. It's got a good cast, you know. Shirley Henderson, you know, surely would be kind of a big name in terms of, you know, Stephen Graham, of course. Not forgetting like Dan Hedaya, and, you know, Vincent Pastore, you know, big pussy himself. But great cast. It's a great film. I don't know why it's so difficult to find. It's just insane. And it was obviously very well received. I think what I would say about this film, like, if you showed me this film and asked me, when was this film made? Like, I know this sounds stupid in a way, because I thought about this when I was thinking it. And this is very much like a kind of 2002, 2003 film. Yeah. You can just tell. And I know you can usually tell when a film's made when you're watching it, but do you know what I mean by that? It just feels like a film of that era. Yeah. Kind of a British film of that kind of, that world. It's not quite like, you know, it's after Lock, Stock and Snatch, but it kind of, it's more of like a kind of a Gangster Number One, or, you know what I mean? That kind of era.
The Acid House
films. And
well, but I don't know if you watched it. Last weekend I watched a documentary series called Real Britannia, which is all about the British film industry from the sort of mid-1950s up until, I guess, maybe mid-2000s. And there was the film fund that you could apply for from the government. So I think the Conservatives took it away. I think they mentioned on the Tories took it away when they came into power eventually. So that's why you don't get as many British films now. But certainly, like, when we were younger, after like the sort of success of Four Weddings and a Funeral, the international success that is, and then Trainspotting and one or two others, there was like a lot of British films, you know, and it especially in the 90s, you had that sort of kind of Britpoppy crossover, you know what I mean? It was like a good time for British music, it was a good time for British film, and it sort of kept going into the 2000s, you know, and we've reviewed quite a few films that have come out around about this time, but yeah, it's a shame that you don't, you know, I mean, you don't have that output now, because studios need to want to make a film in the UK, and, you know, they're probably going to back somebody like Guy Ritchie, who has got a track record of successful films. Do you know what I mean? Like, that have made a lot of money, or directors like that. It'd be harder now, I think, for someone like Don Coots, who, you know, he had done some shorts and some TV work and stuff, but it'd be harder for someone like him to get a film that would get a cinema release. And then you've got the streaming and everything as well, of course, which impacts.
I think you make a very valid point there, Greg, in terms of a lot of the films we've covered, maybe from around about this time or even later. Like, I'm thinking there's quite a lot of films that we have covered on the Swally that in the opening credits, it says funded by the National Lottery.
Yeah.
And this wasn't one of them, but I can think of quite a few films that we've watched that have been funded in that way. And you're right, it's kind of nowadays, it's probably more difficult to get a film like this off the ground.
And certainly getting it into like a cinema, you know, if you're lucky, you can maybe get like a streaming service like Amazon or Netflix, who make a lot of their own content, you know. And I think the good thing about Netflix in particular is they understand that they want to be an international business, so they will fund films or TV shows all over the world, you know, because they want subscribers everywhere in the world. And I guess the same is true of Amazon. But I think, you know, applying for a grant from like the Glasgow Film Council or the National Lottery or something like that, and assembling a cast. And I mean, the thing that strikes me about this film, coming back to the sort of aesthetic that you mentioned, is the only part of it that feels like a set, and it might not be a set either, is the church next door to the cafe. Like the interior of the church. And to be honest, that might not be a set either. this feels like it's all completely filmed on location.
Yeah.
You know, the cafe, everything feels really real.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. In fact, it never crossed my mind the church was potentially a set. Maybe towards the end when they're in the stairwell, I did think maybe that was maybe a set. But yeah, you're right. It does feel really real. And completely filmed on location, or even I did find it funny. I think it's the scene at the airport. That's Prestwick Airport, but when they're leaving,
yes,
they're leaving Glasgow Airport. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, pretty much I would say filmed pretty much mostly on location. To talk about the film, obviously. So we have Roberto, who runs this Italian ice cream stroke fish and chip shop. And he's there with his granddad, Nono, and his assistant, Alice. And so effectively they have his American cousins come to stay with him because they've kind of not botched a job in the Ukraine, but they've got into a little bit of trouble in Ukraine and need to lay low for a while. And that's where the culture clash kind of humour comes from. In terms of the kind of ice cream fish and chip shop, do you still get that nowadays, do you think?
Well,
or, we haven't been in Scotland for a while, but it was very much a thing for a long time.
I think you do. I mean, Aberdeen Beach still has like the Pavilion and the Inversnecky cafes. Glasgow famously still has the University Cafe on Byres Road. I had to look in there when I was there last summer, and by design, it feels like you're stepping back in time because they've kept it as much as possible. They've kept it exactly as it's always been, But I mean, I guess the big sort of tribute really in this is to the generations of Italians that came to Scotland to set up. I mean, there's that scene where we got when Danny Nucci and Dan Hedaya arrive at the airport, and just see that cameo from John Byrne there as the
wonderful
immigration officer, and it says pokey hats or fish and chips, and Danny Nucci's like pokey hats.
Sit down.
Zaglia.
Italian.
Italian, aye.
Aye.
These uppers are pokey hats.
Excuse me?
Fish and chips are ice cream. Usually one or the other, you guys.
You mean like occupation? Where I'm from, it's mainly organized crime.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, some catering, but mainly organized crime. Cosa Nostra, maybe you've seen it on TV.
That's what Italians did. I mean, there's a famous Italian chip shop in Mintlaw in the northeast of Scotland called Zanri's, and Jack Webster, the only sort of famous person who ever sort of came from Maud, he remembers the original Mr. Zanri cycling into the village when he was a kid with with this sort of trolley of ice creams and stuff. So it's not something that's particular to the Glasgow or the west of Scotland. I think it's all over Scotland. Peter Capaldi is a perfect example. That's why he's who he is, because his family came to Scotland before he was born and set up an ice cream business and fish and chip business.
I did love the John Byrne as the customs officer. That was fantastic. The other person in the airport scene, the woman who has her son, she's arguing at the counter. Did you recognise her?
I was trying to place her, but I couldn't place her. I definitely recognise her.
She plays an iconic character in a much beloved Scottish sitcom, and I could say 4 words and you'll know instantly who it is.
Go say the 4 words.
A pint of Guinness.
Oh, is that her? Is it really?
Yeah. It's Edith from Still Game.
Wow.
Who gets called a fucking cranky later on.
Stevie Graham. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's kind of I really enjoyed. So let's talk about the cast. Like, in terms of, I don't really think I've seen like Gerald Lepowski in anything really before. Looking through his IMDb, I'm not sure. I've probably seen him in stuff, but he's great.
He's in 16 Years of Alcohol, but in a very small part in the acting. He's one of the actors in the acting workshop. I think he's kind of sort of blink and you'll miss him.
Yeah,
but that's it.
But I think he he was in Australia for a while and then came back to the UK, and then. But yeah, he's fantastic in this role as Roberto, kind of downtrodden, put upon. You kind of feel that like he's just running this business, but it's all he knows. But he's doing it to honor his dad, effectively. And obviously he's with Nono and, you know, looking after him. He's in love with Alice, but he's your kind of hero that you kind of want to do well, and you're kind of rooting for him. And there are a couple of scenes later on. I mean, specifically the scene where he smacks Steve Graham with a mop bucket. You're just cheering. Like, yes, go on yourself, Roberto. He's a wonderful character, and he's well rounded. Like in terms of it, you can tell he's in love with Alice, but he sees that Gino is trying to fire into her. And you don't blame Gino at all because he's oblivious to what's going on with Roberto because Roberto hasn't stepped up to it, as Nono tells him at the beginning. Like, when are you going to just ask her out? When are you going to do this? Like, you're obviously in love with her. Why don't you just do this? And Gino's obviously oblivious to it, and they have a little kind of romantic thing. And I think it's a very good scene where Roberto just gets pished and kind of loses it, and you're kind of like, I can see that happening. That's true to life, I think. Yeah,
we've all seen somebody just like disappear from a night out because the night hasn't gone the way that they'd hoped it was going to go. You know what I mean? And everyone sort of scrambled, try to find them and whatnot. Yeah, he's good in this. I don't really understand why it's never really happened for him. But he, you know, he's a bit kind of evocative of other Scottish actors. Like there's a few mannerisms that reminded me a little bit of Gordon Sinclair. You know, because he's not like outwardly awkward like Gregory is in Gregory's Girl, but he is a little bit awkward. You know what I mean? There's like a slight awkwardness to him and stuff. It's quite subtle, and he plays a good part, especially the bits that are kind of feels a little bit like the screenwriter Sergio Casque is. You know, he's sort of indulging his own heritage a little bit. You know, when the scene when he's talking about why you always whistle when you're slicing the strawberries. It was so my dad knew that if you're whistling, you weren't eating the strawberries. You know what I mean? All that feels very true. You know, I'm sure that Sergio Casque's writing from real life there when and you know the sort of institutions of this of sort of Italian family business life in Scotland. And you know, and he's not Italian, Gerald Lapowski. I mean, that's not a Italian second name. It's Eastern European, it sounds like. But he, you know, and particularly when he sings the song at the Ceilidh, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's really good. He's really good in this,
and I think that's a great part as well. And it's very much a kind of part that kind of goes that's what I like about this film. There's so many little parts that you have to watch it to pick up on and go kind of unmentioned in a way. So they make a big thing of the whistling with the strawberry cutting. Yeah. And then after he sees the shoots in Satimo's room and the briefcase, the Chianti seedlings. And then when Satimo comes down, he's cutting strawberries. He's not whistling.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously really pissed off. And I thought that was kind of a really great little part that kind of doesn't need to be explained, doesn't need to be over kind of emphasized, that the audience is clever enough to understand that this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And I like that. I really like that.
I know. And then you have so there's in the Rewatchables they have the Rewatchables podcast. They have that guy category, and there's sort of two. There's like an American that guy in this film, Dan Hedaya, who is turned up in everything, and then there's also a Scottish that guy, and it's Russell Hunter. Because when you see him first come on the screen, I had to pause it because I knew it would just fucking do my head in because I had to know what he'd been in. Do you know what I mean? And of course, he's been in fucking absolutely everything. You know what I mean? Absolutely everything. And, you know, I think it's sadly when he was making this film, he was dealing with cancer. And he does look quite sort of drawn and stuff in it. But
Yeah.
despite that, he's fantastic. You know, he's not, when you actually like evaluate the film, he's not in a lot of the film. And I wonder if maybe because of his health, there might have been a bit of a couple of last minute rewrites to kind of make his part a bit smaller. But, you know, the scenes that he's in are fantastic. And of course, like Lepowski, he's not Italian either, but he clearly knows that world and knows those people, you know, playing as he plays Bobby's granddad. As Nono.
It's the heartbreaking scene is, of course, when Roberta goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
And just sees the empty bed there.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, it's another thing in the film. They don't need to beat you over the head with it. You know instantly.
Yeah.
That he's passed away. And I have to admit, I did let out like oh no.
Yeah.
Like kind of watching that. He's fantastic. Just comes out with these little quips and yeah, he's great, kind of this wise old, you know, guy just trying to make Roberto have a better life in a way and try to deal with it.
Yeah, because he's the one that's pushing, you know, like Roberto's doing all that fucking creepy stuff like smelling Alice's scarf and all this stuff. And he's the one sort of pushing him, you know, to like, you know, she's not a married woman anymore. You know, you need to make your move. You know, and you know, because it's obvious how you feel about her.
And I would agree with Dan Hedaya, like being a real that guy.
Yeah,
like
fucking
probably best known for me, like playing Carla's husband in Cheers, Nick Tortelli.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
but he's been in everything. When you look at his IMDb, you know, he's in Aliens, he's in so much stuff, like everything, but he's a real that guy. But he's fantastic in this as Setimo, like kind of really takes charge in a way. I love the fact, like towards the end of the film, when it's kind of like the last battle, he puts his sunglasses on. As if he's like, right, we're going to war. I need to put my sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Like I really like that. And yeah, he has some great lines and he's great, but he kind of disappears for a bit. Like when they're at the Cayley, he kind of vanishes for a while. What's he doing?
The scene that I think he's particularly good in is the scene when he confronts Jojo and he's heavy in the church and he's saying that he's in risk assessment and all that kind of thing. That's particularly good. Seen that. I mean, almost let down by Stephen Rimkus, who plays Jojo, who is not a good actor. Like, he's not at all. He's not good in this anyway. He's horrendous in this. But yeah, Dan Hedaya is. I'm not sure that. I think that might be a wig that he's wearing. It doesn't look. I was looking at it earlier today when I was just doing my last minute notes, and I thought it looks a bit attached. Close-ups.
There's a wonderful chemistry as well in this between Henderson and Lepowski. And you are actually rooting for them. Like, and it's difficult because, like I've said earlier, you kind of want to be pissed off at Gino for getting in the way.
Yeah.
You can't be pissed off at Gino because he's a great character. But the chemistry between Henderson and Lepowski is fantastic. Like, you really are rooting for them. I don't agree towards the end where all of a sudden they're like, yeah, let's get married. They haven't even kissed yet, and let alone anything else. But there is a real kind of, oh, guys, come on, just get it together, a feeling throughout this film.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the quality of Shirley Henderson's talent, really, I think, you know, because they're both very, very good. But I think she in particular, you know, and she doesn't, this is at a time when she's not really doing, she's doing a lot of work, but she's not necessarily leading like movies. You know, she's in, I think the biggest thing just before this that she was in was Bridget Jones. She plays one of Renée Zellweger's kind of group of friends. Yeah, so it's nice to see her, Shirley Henderson, as the kind of lead, you can't really say actress anymore, lady actor. And love interest and everything in this, because I think she really drives the scenes that she's in. Like in particular, the scene where Gino's sort of trying to impress her, and they have the kind of fish and chips competition, and she has to sort of rate his attempt. You know, like she's really charming and stuff, and you can see why, because she's, I think she would be the first person to admit that she's not sort of traditionally beautiful leading lady. But, what makes her charm in that scene, that's where you understand why Bobby's like head over heels in love with Alice and why Gino's pursuing her. You know what I mean? She's kind of funny. Her body language and everything else. She's kind of flirty, but she's not really flirting. You know what I mean? It's quite an intuitive. Performance from her in that scene, I think.
Okay. Start with overall presentation, speed, service.
Service was excellent, polite and professional. Could have been faster, but given it's his first time, it was adequate. Presentation also good. Fish on top, not too many chips, not too few. Overall, that is a pass.
Okay. Taste and texture, fish first.
Okay. Fish itself seems okay. A little undercooked, maybe. But the batter, there's far too much flour in the mixture, and it's practically raw. That's a fail.
Yeah, no, she's great. That scene is fantastic. She's really good in that scene. I would completely agree with you on that. And kind of self-assured, but comes across well. Did you like, and this is another thing that would mark it as 2002 kind of era, did you like her acupuncture trainers she was wearing?
Yeah. I remember the three of us having, like you and I and our mutual friend all having a pair of acupunctures.
I never had a pair of acupunctures.
I'm sure you had a pair of acupunctures.
I never had a pair of acupunctures. Never. Never. I didn't know you did. I know our mutual friend did. He loved them, but I've never in my life had a pair of acupuncture.
So the ones he had the big ostentatious A on the top.
Yeah.
And my ones were a little bit more subtle, but mine had instead of laces, they had the little sort of elastic things that sort of attached to little clips on the outside of the foot.
I know the ones you mean.
Yeah. I sent away for them. My ex-girlfriend, who you know, got a catalogue, and because I think they were quite expensive. I think they're like about £100, which is quite a lot. In like
back then,
the early 2000s, and I ordered them from her from the catalogue to pay them up. We broke up not long after. I don't know if I ever finished paying for them, and I know that I know that she won't have finished paying for them. She probably would have got her dad to pay off her catalogue account or something like that. Yeah.
So you've worked in many a kitchen, and obviously you work in catering. What is more difficult, making a pizza or frying a fish?
I would say frying a fish. I mean, the hard work to making a pizza is all done before you cook it. You got to get the dough right and everything like that, let it prove and whatnot. So it definitely takes longer. But I would say in terms of the balance has to be right in the batter when you're frying anything, but especially fish, because fish is quite a delicate protein. You need to there's definitely a fine balance when it comes to your flour, salt ratios, etc. when you're making batter, or you can fuck it right up. We've all had a really disappointing fish supper in our lives.
This takes me back. I used to do weekends in my uncle's pizza place. Now that was hard work.
That's no hard. Put the cheese, put the tomato in the oven. 2-minute job. Frying fish, now that's hard. That's art and craft.
Excuse me? How hard can it be to make fish and French fries? I mean, back home, guys do that kind of stuff when they're too dumb to collect garbage.
Yeah.
No offense.
Well, a man's entitled to his opinion. Then again, if you haven't tried it, how do you know?
Back home in Jersey, we call that a challenge.
And I've never wanted a fish supper so much as watching this. Like, watching this, I was like, oh, even though the chips are always undercooked.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
As the female customer says, your chips are shite, your chips are shite. Yeah. Like, there's the thing. But it is a wonderful kind of callback or way that they do it in terms of the Gino is undercooking his chips. Yeah. And then he's cooking the chips when, of course,
The Scouse
I've
baddies.
just referred to them throughout my notes as the Scallies, but of course it's Henry and Vince, which great names for two Scallies, but I've just referred to them as the Scallies. When they're eating their chips, which obviously are undercooked, but they haven't complained about it. And that's when Roberto realizes that they're obviously up to something. And they've got fucking Uzi 9mm underneath their jumpers. But when he smacks them with that mop bucket, it's fucking brilliant.
It's a great moment. Yeah, it's a really good moment. And like tying it back is, because obviously there's a whole Bobby probably is quite familiar with most of his customers. You know what I mean? Knows them, at least the bit. So when people come in that he doesn't recognise, and then it's not Scottish accents and stuff, and he's immediately, his suspicions are aroused and stuff. And it's so cool how it's the chips that are their undoing. You know what I mean? It's I mean, but yeah, I would say it's the same as you, because it's impossible. I don't care what any expats say. Right, I'm going to say something which, now I might have said this before, but I've lived in England. And obviously I've lived out here for the last, in the Middle East for the last almost 10 years. You can't get good fish and chips in England, right? You can't. It's impossible. You've lived in Norwich, right? I bet you never had a decent chips up the whole time you're there, right?
But everyone goes on about Yarmouth. Oh, the fish and chips in Yarmouth, and I went to Yarmouth and I had the fish and chips, and it was fucking shite compared to proper Scottish fish and chips.
Yeah, I've had fish and chips in Brighton. I've had them in Blackpool, and they're always rubbish, right? So watching this. When we were back in Scotland in July, I had to have a roll and chips from the Blue Lagoon in Glasgow, right? I had to have one.
Yeah.
There was no way that I was getting on that plane without having a roll and chips. And I had one, and it was fucking amazing. But yeah, all the way through this, I was just thinking, I don't know when I'm going to get a decent chip supper next. I just don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I'm going to be in Glasgow for a day or two in December. Will that be the chance? But I'll be with my family, so I'll only be able to get one if they want to get one. If they don't want to get one, I'll have to miss out and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, my mouth was fucking watering all the way through the film.
Yeah, when Gino presents the fish and chips to Alice and, okay, it's got the slice of lemon and a bit of parsley on it, like, okay, that's not going to happen, we'll do it like that. But when he's like, salt and vinegar, it's like, oh, you just a little bit, and he's pouring the salt and vinegar on it. I was like, oh my God, my mouth was watering. Like, oh, fuck, I want some of that. I really want some of that. But
ever come across a chippy, like a sort of British style chippy in Amsterdam?
There is somewhere that does. Yeah, there is, but they're a bit further away. But there is like a little van that does like proper British fish and chips. So I don't know how it is. But yeah, I need to test that one day and see.
It's a tightrope, isn't it? It's a tightrope spud.
Yeah, it is. They're called the chippy. So yeah, I need to check them out and see if they're any good. But yeah, it's a tightrope, and I might just wait because I feel bad. Like the last couple of times when back to Scotland, I haven't had fish and chips. So
I thought you'd have been right in behind me to get a roll and chips in the Blue Lagoons.
I wasn't hungry that day. I was full of tenants, so I wasn't.
Well, I was full of tenants. That's why I needed the fucking roll and chips.
Yeah,
to make sure I could continue drinking tenants and not have to go to bed.
I mean, we can continue the food chat because there is a wonderful scene where Gino has haggis.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Which made me want to have a fucking battered haggis.
Yeah.
And he bites into it and he's like, oh, it's spicy.
Yeah.
And then Nono says, yeah, that'll be the sheep's stomach. And he instantly pukes. And it's funny, like I've explained to quite a few people, being in Amsterdam, like in terms of haggis, like, oh yeah, haggis. And I explained to them what it is. And they're like, yeah, I don't want to ever eat that. And I'm like, but it's so lovely. Like if you just don't, like you have to taste it to know what it tastes like. But you need to get over the kind of the preconceptions. And I agree, it sounds disgusting if you explain to someone what haggis actually is, but it's so good.
Yeah, I don't think it's not made the way that it used to be made anyway. I mean, they're not like boiling everything in a sheep's stomach. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, there is a bit of offal in there, I'm sure, but I mean, like some cultures eat a lot worse. You know what I mean? As part of their sort of culinary heritage than that. Don't you think?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, yeah.
The French eat horse. So is that worse? Is that better?
I mean, you live in Dubai, Greg. Like I've lived there as well. I have seen neighbours having a goat in their back garden ready to slaughter that they're going to eat, and I'm like, yeah, I'd rather eat a sheep's stomach than goat. I mean, I wouldn't now, obviously, 'cause I'm vegetarian, but vegetarian haggis is wonderful.
I like goat.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Right. Anyway, let's get off the food chat. This was rated as one of the top 3 Scottish feature films of all time in a poll by The List. Can you name the top 5, Greg? This was named number 3. Can you name the top 5?
Top five gangster films, did you say?
Top 5 Scottish feature films.
Oh, right, sorry. Okay, so number 1, I'm going to say Local Hero.
Nope. That is number 4.
Okay. Have I got to get them in order?
No, you can just shout them out. All right. I'm just telling you, that's number 4. So,
Local Hero.
American Cousins is number 3. Local Hero is number 4.
Okay. Gregory's Girl's got to be in there.
That's number 2.
Number 2, Trainspotting's in there.
Is number 1.
Wow. So
Well, Greg, if you can get this last one, then you've done it.
Scottish film. Let me think.
I would say it's a old Scottish film. Something we haven't covered on Swally, but we're going to.
I know what it is. It's the Whiskey Galore.
Fuck me, Greg. You've just got the top 5 Scottish films according to The List magazine. That's amazing. Well done. That is impressive. Yes. Top 5 films, Scottish films, according to The List magazine, are Trainspotting, Gregory's Girl, American Cousins, Local Hero, and Whiskey Galore.
Again, just compounds even more how this film is so difficult to track down now, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's insane. Right. Let's get on to him. Big pussy himself. Vincent Pastor. So prominent on the poster, on the DVD cover. Yes, he saves the day. It's just a fucking glorified cameo role, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
But he's fucking great. It's pussy. It's so good. Such a big fan of The Sopranos, as you are as well. It's just so good to see him. Now, I do have an issue. Now, he gets out the taxi. Right, first of all, there's no way a fucking Glasgow cabbie is driving into that area, seeing someone holding a gun to someone's head, and is going to just drive the taxi in. Okay, let's just put that aside. Tony gets out, talks to the guy, and then all of a sudden, 25 other guys come out. Did they get a minibus? Or how did they get there? Just after him.
The ending is the ending's a little bit contrived, I suppose, isn't it? I mean, I imagine that a lot of the money was off the back of the fact that they'd got Vincent Pastore in, because I think his character. Sorry, if you've not seen The Sopranos, massive spoiler coming your way. I'll pause for a second, give you a chance to hit it forward. His character just been killed off, right? And he was one of the main characters in the first 2 series. So I think he goes to the end of series 2, and I think the series 2 came out in 2001.
I think it's series 3 he dies.
No, it's series 2. It's the very last.
Sure?
Last episode.
Okay.
He comes back for a couple of cameos.
He does, yeah.
But it's the last episode of series 2. But trust me, watched them a lot. But he's obviously, I think they've probably got some funding off the back of the fact that he's in the film. And it's funny, we're saying near the beginning of the review about how it's all filmed on location. Kiev looks quite a lot like Sight Hill in Glasgow in the film. And when we see Big Pussy on the phone near the beginning, it's supposed to be in New Jersey. I think that bridge is just over the river in Glasgow on the south side. Pretty sure it is. Southeast of Glasgow. I think that bridge is. They managed to get an American car for him to sit in to take the phone call.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I think they have to...
Well, Glasgow's been doubling for America a lot over the last sort of 10 or 15 years. I mean, the Flash, they used bits of Glasgow to double for Gotham City. World War Z, famously, the first sort of 5 or 10 minutes of that film is all shot in George Square. They've had a lot of, the Fast and the Furious, the Hobbs and Shaw spin-off, big car chase through the Merchant City. Glasgow's been doubling for America for quite a long time. So it's fair. It's fair fucks, right? It's fair enough.
Yeah. I have a couple of questions about this that I would like you to... I'm going to say clear up, but I just want to discuss with you. Okay, so first of all, Satimo, so he gets shot in kind of the opening scene.
It gets grazed. He says it just grazed me, didn't it?
So it's just grazed him. So he doesn't have a bullet in his arm the whole film. Because what's the scene where Gino's with the spoon kind of holding it against his graze? Like, that's never kind of really gone into. Like, does he have a bullet in his arm the whole film? Or is it's just been grazed?
I don't know, because he does say, like, in that, after the shootout, Gino asks him, he says, are you alright? He says, are you hit? And he says, oh, it just grazed me. Let's go, you know? Because it takes Gino's expensive tie to kind of tourniquet it. To sort of, I don't know, to sort of dress it or whatever.
Now, this is after 9/11. How the fuck does he get his gun in Scotland?
I guess we just have to, a little bit of poetic license. Like Pussy turning up with fucking a whole legion of mafiosos and a minibus off camera.
Gino having a bath. Do you take baths, Greg?
No, you kind of get a bath that I can fit in the Middle East. They're all too wee, but even so, not a big fan of the bath. The last time I had a bath actually was when I was in Milan in February this year. I had quite a big bath in the hotel, and I hadn't had one for a while, and I thought I'll get in the bath and I'll watch a bit of whatever I was watching in the bath and relax a bit. But I was too hot. Like, I kind of get the temperature right, and when you come out the bath, you're kind of a bit sweaty, don't you think?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
What about you? You like a bath?
I don't have a bath.
If you did, would you use the bath?
No. What? My third apartment in Amsterdam. My first two had baths, and I don't think I'd ever really used them. No. And in Dubai, I had a bath in every house I lived in. Hardly ever had a bath. Yeah. Not a big fan.
I don't have
shower.
I don't have time for the bath.
Yeah.
I do remember when you let us use your place in Dubai when you were in Germany for Christmas. Bathing my daughters in your bath. Because they were wee then, you know. They'd been swimming, so we stuck them in the bath.
Did you like that when Vince and Henry, the Scallies, are sat in the bar, they're drinking watermelon Bacardi breezers?
Yeah, again, just dates the film, doesn't it?
Like, why they're not drinking a pint of Tennent's? They're drinking watermelon Bacardi breezers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe Bacardi put some money into the film as well. Maybe that's why.
Possibly. I read a review of this online that said it was a complete rip-off of Comfort and Joy, which I had to say,
Well, the only thing it's got in common with Comfort and Joy is the sort of ice cream element.
Exactly. Yeah. Slight gangster, but the Italian gangsters, but then the gangsters in this are all Ukrainian or
But
New Jersey.
You know, the person who has said that has watched this and probably hasn't watched Comfort and Joy since it came out and can't really remember much about it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just made a lazy connection. Prick.
Prick. There we go. That's our assessment of that. But otherwise, I really enjoyed this film. Like, it was really good. Like, I really, I will watch it again. Yeah. It's a bit convenient at the end, obviously.
Yeah.
It turns out that Roberto is a stamp collector, and then all of a sudden Tony has this rare stamp that is worth $300,000 and means they get to open a new restaurant, and they have a fucking vineyard outside of wherever that was before. Like, you never saw that.
No.
Outside the restaurant before, but they've just suddenly bought all of that land with the $300,000. But I guess at that time in Glasgow, maybe it was available. So, yeah.
But he would have had to have sold the stamp to get the money to do it, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I thought that was the illusion that he's given him the stamp. He sold the stamp and got the money, and then obviously...
With the vineyard bit, the thing that it made me think of, do you remember the scene in Small Faces when Lex is round at his Italian mates and his dad has been trying to grow... His dad's wrapping his vineyards with foil. He's great. He's grape plants for foil, and he says he's been trying to grow grapes in the garden since he got here. He's never managed it or something like that because it's sort of Scottish winter. And I just thought to myself, grapes. There's a reason that if grapes could grow in Scotland, the Scottish wine industry would be as big as the Scottish whiskey industry, if not bigger. You know?
But these are special grapes, Greg, that can grow in any climate and make the
Oh,
best
of course,
Chianti.
Yeah, I kind of understood why it had to be these little sort of shoots of grape plants that was what all the trouble was about in Kiev and why they were fugitives and everything. Because if it had been something like drugs or whatever, then it's going to be difficult for the audience to warm to these guys, these gangsters. You know what I mean? You know, I guess it is asking a lot for you to fit to, as the audience, to like them anyway, because the first time we see them, they're in a shootout. You know, there's Dan Hedaya is pretty good at being menacing, although Danny Nucci doesn't really do anything sort of menacing or aggressive in the film. He's just like on the kind of full-on charm offensive. But it did feel just like a wee bit, I don't know, they can be a wee bit let down that it wasn't something like, I don't know, diamonds or gold or something like that they were.
I thought
that
it was
was
quite
the stake.
good. Like, it was quite, you know, and I thought it was quite nice that when it comes down to Roberto and he's like, look, are you upset about what I did yesterday in terms of shooting the guy in the leg? And he's like, you know, gave my granddad a heart attack. Like, I hope the fucker never walks again. That was, you know, quite a nice scene. He's like, I don't care about that, but I'm presuming you've got drugs upstairs. And he's like, no, it's not drugs. It's, you know,
I'll show you
the finest Chianti.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Made me want to have a nice glass of red wine as well, that scene.
Yeah.
With those two talking about the Chianti.
With some fish and chips.
With some fish and chips. Or rolling chips, even better. Okay. Is it time to put American Cousins through the Swally Awards?
Yeah, let's do it, Greg. What is first? Although I know what's first. It's the Bobby the Barman Award, isn't it?
Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. So, if by my reckoning, we've got the choice of 3. There is the just mentioned a moment ago, the sort of clubby pub where we see Stephen Graham and co having the big Hardy Breezers and having a bit of a face off against the guy with the smashing Pringle jumper on. There is the pub that we see them in again a bit later when Jojo's goon goes to give them information, and then there is the pub that the Cayley is being held in at Loch Lomond. Did you spot another one?
No, that's the 3 that I had. I quite like the look of the bar that the Scousers are in drinking Bacardi Breezers.
Yeah.
But the social club, I don't know. I think the Cayley music would do my head in, but it looked like there was a good buffet. Like, it was good sausage rolls and stuff there. And I bet it was cheap for a pint there as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah, definitely.
Probably, I think that'd be my choice, I think.
Yeah, just sitting near the
What
back.
about you?
Well, I chose that too. You know, I hadn't really thought it through about the sort of cheap drinks and the good buffet, but yeah, I thought, you know, it kind of reminded me of the social club in the village of Maud in Aberdeenshire.
It looked like a British Legion type place. So yeah. I think
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so next one is our patron saint of the podcast, James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish.
Russell Hunter.
Hunter. See, I thought we were going to have to debate this because I picked Russell Hunter. I thought you might pick Shirley Henderson. But Shirley Henderson's actually quite an international actress. I said Russell Hunter, for all the reasons that I mentioned when we first spoke about him earlier on in the recording. The guy's just prolific. You know?
Yeah.
Sort of Cosmo bothering kind of filmography, really. You know.
Cosmo bothering.
Next then, the Jake McQuillan Yartizoot Award.
It has to be Roberto with a mop and bucket.
Yeah,
surely.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I can, after you said that, I kind of wished I'd picked it, but I've written the big fella getting shot in the knee because it's a bit unexpected. Yeah. But in terms of the sort of criteria, I think Bobby tanning Stephen Graham over the Bonds with the mop bucket, it's a better fit.
Yeah.
So normally we would have the Hugh McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity, but I mean, I get you see Gino's arse. That's about it, you know.
Well, that's still nudity. I would say that counts. And obviously, Shirley Henderson sees his big salami and says, "Wow!" afterwards. So
his big salami.
I think that Gino's packing.
Big salami or a wee cola bottle?
It's not a wee cola bottle. I'm sure it's a big chorizo that he's... Oh no, that's Spanish. Big salami. We'll see. A wee cola bottle.
Next then, the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing.
What did you go for?
Fuck off, Biggles. Just for some reason, I know it's not the most gratuitous moment, but I hadn't heard anybody refer to Biggles since I was a fucking kid. And just Stephen Graham when he bumps into the pilot. Fuck off, Biggles. Just really made me laugh.
That was my choice until like 2 seconds later when he says, "Shut up, you fucking Krankies."
Yeah.
So that's my choice. There are some great uses of swearing later on as well. But I went with, shut up, you fucking cranky.
Next then.
Yeah, fuck off, Biggles was great.
It made me chuckle. Next archetypal Scottish moment.
I went with either visiting Loch Lomond or, the Dashing White Sergeant.
Yeah, I've written Cayley / Loch Lomond in the pissing rain. Something.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to Loch Lomond and it hasn't rained. Yeah. And then next then is the Sean Connery Award for who wins the film.
Who did you go for this one?
Do you know, I really agonised over this. I'd written at one point I'd written Dan Hedaya and then I put a line through it because he does sort of disappear. But when he's on screen, he even when he's sort of quietly, there's a scene or two when he's sort of sitting quietly at the back of the screen at the back of the shot when Bobby and Gino were talking or having a bit of a back and forth. He's really, I think he's really good, but for all the reasons for all the reasons that I mentioned earlier on when we were talking about her, I think it's Shirley Henderson.
Okay, yeah.
I think she just drives the film. What about you? Who'd you go for?
I went for Lipkowski. However, you might have swayed me on Henderson because she does kind of drive the film.
Yeah.
If I think about probably the most memorable scenes, they are involving her. You're right. Like that scene where she's reviewing his fish and chips is great in terms of, and she is. Yeah, fuck it. I've changed my mind. Henderson wins it for me. Yeah, she's great.
Okay. So that was American Cousins. If you want to see it, you're going to have to really, really search for it, especially if you are in the UK or Europe. American listeners may come across it a bit easier. What was the website it was on in America, the streamer?
It is, let me just double check. It is available on...
is it Roku or something like that? Or?
It's like Toomey or something.
Toomey, okay. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, Toomey. But it's available... but if you can search for it, then you will be able to find it. So, yeah.
So, American Cousins was my choice. And I've been sort of wishing we could have done it sooner because I think because I got to go to the premiere, it was a good memory. It was a good memory doing that. So maybe that's why. But anyway, that means that the half-empty Iron Brew bottle spins back round to you. What are we watching on the next episode?
Well, the next episode will come out on the 3rd of October, Greg, which means it's Halloween month, which means it's the Swally Spooktacular. So on the next episode, I'm going to give you Christopher Lee,
wow,
Peter Cushing, Diana Dors, Michael Gambon, and Fulton Mackay. Second mention in this episode. Yeah. As we look at, and I think this is going to be right up your street, we'll look at a 1973 film covering the mysterious deaths of 3 trustees at an orphanage on the Scottish island of Bala, and the film is called Nothing But the Night, and it is available on YouTube.
Is a bit of me. You're quite right.
Yeah, I know it is. I know it is right up your street. Fucking Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing. I think it was produced by Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. They set up their own film studio, did this film, and it was a massive failure. So they backed it in. But it is a complete 1970s kind of Hammer horror film.
Brilliant.
So, and it also stars Gwyneth Strong.
I'm there for it.
AKA Cassandra from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
As a child actress. And Keith Barron from Duty Free.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm gonna download Duty Free. I need to watch that again. I fucking love that. So Nothing But the Night, available on YouTube. So that's the first episode of our Swally Spooktacular.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. If you want to follow us on the socials, you can follow us on Insta at Culture Swally Pod, or you can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Swally Pod. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us on cultureswally@gmail.com with any recommendations or anything you've seen in the news, or hey, if you just want to get in touch to say hello, just send us a message. And we have a wonderful website as well, don't we, Greg?
We do. You can find us at cultureswally.com, where you find links to all the episodes, the aforementioned Krankies essay, and some other bits and bobs about Scottish film and culture. And if you're interested in Scottish film, although that documentary series I mentioned earlier is primarily about the British film industry, there is a lot of coverage of Scotland, particularly in the 80s, with films like Local Hero, which we've covered in the Swally for our 50th episode, and also Restless Natives. Sorry, it took me a second to get there as well. If you're interested, it's called Real Britannia. It's 1 or 2 years old, narrated by Nick Helm, but some great talking heads in there. Mike Lee, Mike Newell, Ken Roach are all on there, so it's well worth a watch.
Wonderful. Yeah, you did send that to me, and I meant to watch it, and I was going to watch it yesterday, but I ended up watching a documentary about the Attitude Era of WWE, which is available on Smarters. So if you want to look for it, it's well worth a watch. But I might watch that documentary later on. But yeah, fantastic. Okay, wonderful. Right. I will see you next time for our first episode of our Swally Spectacular, which we have 3 episodes of, because we have 3 episodes coming out in October, Greg. So we've got 3 scary films to cover. So until next time.
Public relations, my arse. Excuse me, Mr. Guarini.
Why not?
Oh, please. We're from New Jersey, and we're in public relations. My fat arse.
So what you say?
She's saying they're mobsters. So you better look out. Or you'll end up in the River Clyde wearing concrete wellies.